Hi, this is Scott, Kilo Sierra 6, Delta Alpha Yankee, and for this video, this is part 2 of the Portable Power Box series, and this is the first box that we're going to be taking a look at. This one I've had for quite a few years, actually. I think it's been maybe 7, 8 years that I've had this one. It's as I mentioned in the intro, I put this together actually before I was interested in field power for radio. This was actually field power for camping gear. It was also, I might add, before I bought into the concept of Anderson power poles. So I do have a workaround for that, but what I want to show you first is the exterior. You know, I've got a little kind of weathered Spectre Gear sticker here. Of course, plug for Spectre Gear. Your patronage there supports this channel. That's my day job. So if you're looking for tactical slings, radio pouches, that kind of stuff, spectregear.com. These little buttons that you see right here, these are actually just screw covers. It's my own kind of OCD thing. I don't like exposed screws showing, so you don't necessarily have to do that, but this actually secures some of the stuff on the inside of the box itself. So let's move to the actual control panel portion. We have an on-off switch so that you can control, turn it off while it's in transit. We have a voltage gauge on here so we can have an idea of how much voltage is on the battery. Now, in terms of power capability, we have two spots here. I've got a socket for a USB port, two USB ports, a 1 amp and a 2.1 amp. And then on the left here, we have our typical, and these used to be called cigarette lighter outlets. Nobody smokes anymore, so we don't do that anymore. But yeah, it basically is going to be, you know, your typical 12-volt power solution for plugging in. Now, the main reason that I have this particular setup was my intention was to use this box to run this this inverter, and this inverter features one of those. So that's why I went with this as my primary power hookup. But I mentioned the power pole aspect. PowerWorks sells this really cool little adapter that plugs in, and it plugs in just like any other 12-volt power source into there, and then you can actually plug your Anderson power poles into that. So that's kind of my workaround on this. Now, in terms of what I've been able to use this for, as far as actually powering the CPAP machine, I've used this several times now to do that, both during power outages and during sleep hours when I don't have power available to me, also known as camping, although I don't really camp as much as I used to. But yeah, this will actually run my CPAP machine all night long. Now, would it be easier just to, cut the wires on my CPAP machine and put some Anderson power pole connectors on there? Yeah, but CPAP machines are expensive, and so is the gear that goes with it. So I didn't want to tear that up. So this is not necessarily the most efficient solution for that. But let me tell you some other things that I've done with this. I've actually used this power box on several occasions now to power a 50-watt portable rig, portable VHF UHF rig on events. Now, it's been anywhere from 4 to 6 hours that I've continuously operated with that, but I regularly power, like I say, my 50-watt mobile in my Go box with this particular power pack. Now, what I'll do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and break, and I'll pop this open and show you what's inside and how that's set up. Okay, we're back, and let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. But before I get to that, let me talk about the actual box itself. This is just a generic ammunition box made by MTM that I bought at Sportsman's Warehouse. So if you're looking for something, for instance, you already have a battery and you're looking to size it to something, a little shopping trip down to a place like Sportsman's Warehouse, or some of your other gun shops that are particularly well equipped and have stuff like this, you can find maybe some different solutions that might work a little bit better. But this worked out for me. Now, going to the inside, the first thing that is going to draw your attention is the battery itself. Now, keep in mind, this goes back several years, and it goes back to a time when batteries of this size that were lithium ion or lithium iron were enormously expensive. They have since come way, way down in terms of pricing. So the battery you use for your kit is completely up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. But what this is an Armstrong 12 amp hour sealed lead acid AGM type battery. and it's given great service and still holds a charge nicely, so I'm very happy with it. It's secured in place with these pieces of metal hardware here that I sourced from Lowe's, and the purpose here is it's anchored at the bottom and it's anchored at the top, so if this thing happens to fall over or end up getting kicked down a driveway, the battery's not going to come dislodged and start arcing and sparking all over the place. Now the wiring itself, everything in here is 14 gauge, although this wire is a little bit bigger. I think this is going to be 12 gauge. The coming off of the positive terminal, I have a 15 amp fuse. I don't intend to ever draw more than 15 amps because of the wiring involved. And if you don't know what that is, it's something you're going to want to study, is how much amperage this wiring can handle. So if whatever device you're using happens to draw an extraordinary amount of power through any of these ports, which also, by the way, are fused, and I'll show you that in just a moment, or if one of these goes bad, and this is suddenly drawing way more amperage than the wiring can handle, this 15 amp fuse will blow and shut the entire process down and keep this thing from catching on fire. Now, mentioning that other fuse box, every receptacle in here is fused in this little fuse box that's bolted to the side of the bulkhead here. I also have a common ground terminal bolted to the other side, so everything goes to a common ground block. And that's it. It's a pretty simple system. Now you'll note that the box is much bigger than the battery that's in there. But this void right here, what this is meant for, and at some point I'm gonna follow through on this, but not long after I put this kit together, I bought a small solar charging kit at Harbor Freight, and it comes with a little charge controller that's just perfect to fit into this area. And I also bought, I believe, is a 25-watt solar panel, with the idea that I could charge this box off of solar in the event that the off-grid situation lasted longer than anticipated. And that's a project that I'm going to at some point follow through on, and when I do, I'll go ahead and let you guys know. Now, I know absolutely the square root of well, jack all when it comes to solar, so that's something that I need to look into and learn on. So that's I need some kind of solar generator for not only this box but the other power station as well. So as I launch into that, I may actually do a series on that, so you can follow along with me making stupid mistakes and figuring it out as we go. But again, this is how I have this one laid out. It's fairly simple, fairly straightforward. And as I said, this is the kind of DIY project that you can do kind of anything you want. Now, one thing that I know a lot of guys like to do on these boxes, I'll leave this open for a second, a lot of guys like to put lights on them and a few other things. The reason I didn't put lights on this one or the other one is I have lights that I keep on my person. I have a headlamp that I use, and I also have other lighting solutions to bring into play. Plus, for instance, the big box that goes under the table, or that's not something I'm going to have right next to my radio. But I have seen other people actually put lights on the sides of these. I bought some at the time that I did this. I just elected not to go with it. But yeah, this is my layout. The layout you do is going to be completely up to you. It's your own little personal power box snowflake. So with that, I'll bring it to an end. Thank you for watching and or listening. This is Scott, Kilo Sierra 6, Delta Alpha Yankee from Visalia, California. Have a wonderful day.